Here are today's headlines. The Supreme Court is urged to intervene in the dispute over the suspension of overall Deputy Ombudsman Melchor Carandang. The Philippine National Police insists the arrest of NDF consultant Rafael Bailosis and his companion were not politically motivated. A high-end resort in Boracay is razed by fire for 3 hours. And Baguio City blooms once again with the opening of the annual Flower Festival. Good day, I'm William Theo.
And I'm Pia Rosas Morato. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom.
Two senators called on the Supreme Court to step into the dispute between Malacanang and the Office of the Ombudsman. They said the SC is the appropriate arbiter to interpret the suspension of overall Deputy Ombudsman Melchor Carandang. Here is our report.
Two senators urged the Supreme Court to intervene and resolve the conflict between Malacanang and the Office of the Ombudsman over the suspension of overall Deputy Ombudsman Melchor Carandang. Senate Minority Leader Franklin Drilon warned that there could be a constitutional crisis that could rise from the clash between the Malacanang and the Ombudsman. Drilon said that if it believes that President Rodrigo Duterte can suspend Carandang, Malacanang can file a petition for mandamus with the Supreme Court to compel Ombudsman Conchita Carpio Morales to implement his suspension. Another option is that Morales and Carandang can file a petition in the Supreme Court to set aside Malacanang's suspension order and seek a temporary restraining order. Senator Francis Escudero echoed Drilon, saying it was the best course of action on both parties. Escudero said taking the case to the High Tribunal will not exacerbate the dispute on jurisdiction and the enforcement of the suspension order. He expressed hope that the SC can bring the issue to a close to prevent a constitutional crisis. The Office of the Executive Secretary formally charged Carandang with grave misconduct and grave dishonesty for misuse of confidential information and disclosing false information on the alleged bank transactions of the President and his family. Carandang was also put under a 90-day preventive suspension. Morales said that her office would not implement Malacanang's suspension of Carandang, calling it a breach of the Ombudsman's independence. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Philane Cervantes.
The Philippine National Police allocated 334 million pesos for the acquisition of body cameras needed by its operatives. PNP Director General Ronald De La Rosa said the fund for the body cameras was under the PNP's 2018 budget. De La Rosa said that all interested suppliers or companies were invited to participate in the project. These body cameras will be used by police operatives involved in anti-drug and other operations. The PNP chief, meanwhile, spearheaded the presentation and blessing of new vehicles and equipment at the National Capital Region Police Office headquarters in Camp Bagong Diwa, Taguig City. Items handed over include new vehicles, submachine guns, communication equipment, night vision goggles, global positioning systems, body armor, and bomb-sniffing dogs. These equipment are acquired through the PNP's 6.4 billion peso Capability Enhancement Program. In a show of strong ties with the Philippines, Russian officials turned over in-kind donations for evacuees in Marawi City. Russia expressed its commitment to help the Philippines as the country deals with natural disasters and threats such as terrorism. Here is our report.
In a ceremonial turnover of donations from the government of the Russian Federation to the Philippine government coursed through the Department of Social Welfare and Development, dedication to help and commitment to strengthen relationship reigned all throughout as strong ties are fostered between the two countries. With the enduring fight against terrorism, Russian Ambassador Igor Anatolievich Kovev underscores the Russian government's role in continuously allocating humanitarian assistance and advancing new materials to the Philippines.
And that's why we fully understand the sufferings of the people of Marawi City, your feelings, and we fully understand an urgent big need of support. So please consider this donation not as a donation only from the government of the Russian Federation. First of all, it's a donation from the bottom of the Russian people's hearts to the Philippine people, to all Filipinos and Filipinas. We fully support, I'm saying again, your struggle against terrorism. And apart from this donation, our country is ready to support the Philippines in many other fields, including defense and security, education. We are ready to share our experience how to efficiently cope with the terrorist threat. Because we know very well, no country, big or small, doesn't matter, no country is able to efficiently address, to eradicate terrorism on its own.
He added that their government is open to access imperative resources to purposely send in the Philippines for utilization of any emergencies caused whether natural disasters or armed conflicts. The Russian government also manifests camaraderie and guarantees to produce any form of assistance and organize requisites such as staff training and exchange of experience. Moreover, Igor Veselov, Acting Director General of the Department of International Activity of the Ministry of the Russian Federation for Civil Defense, Emergencies and Elimination of Consequences of Natural Disasters, said that the assistance that the Russian government would give has no limitations. Further, he said that they can possibly be administering training to the people and guarantee that there are some amount of construction materials that will be provided to alleviate the problems in fast-tracking the reconstruction of Marawi City.
Our aid is to organize in the minimum time to move help to the people, to organize some filled places where people to live can, and to give them first aid. And then also maybe some help in the reconstruction. You know that with our humanitarian aid there is some amount of construction materials for the first time to help people.
For the Marawi.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Department of Foreign Affairs Undersecretary Ernesto C. Abella uttered words of appreciation to the kind gesture of the Russian Federation. He said that they will continue to increase mutual awareness to both governments. Abella expressed that the Philippine government is open and welcome to support the relationship, especially in facing the global fight against terrorism.
They have said that whatever assistance that they extend will have no conditionalities. And so that which serves the Philippine interest is going to be under welcome consideration.
For PNA Newsroom, E.G. Lacre, Philippine Information Agency.
Hotels, island resorts, lodging houses, and the likes in Palawan were urged to help in documenting and monitoring cases of child abuse and prostitution. In a resolution filed to the Sangguniang Panlalawigan Board member David Ponce de Leon, tapped these establishments to strictly monitor if any child is being trafficked for prostitution. He said prostitution is apparent in the province, but law enforcement has done little or nothing to stop it. He added that civil authorities recognize prostitution as a social concern, yet there are those who even take advantage of the issue. He further said that although the sex industry is likely to grow alongside urbanization and tourism, it was also the responsibility of accommodation establishments to ensure that no life of any child was exposed to danger. Ponce de Leon's resolution cited that the Anti-Trafficking in Persons Act of 2003 holds it unlawful for any person to commit acts related to trafficking in persons, prostitution, and attempted trafficking in persons. Ponce de Leon's resolution did not specifically name the hotels or resorts where prostitution was tolerated. A group of 12 South Korea-based companies visited the Philippines for an investment and market research mission. The Korean firms were accompanied by ASEAN Korea Center International Contractors Association of Korea and Asia Center of Seoul National University. AKC Secretary General Kim Young-sun led the delegation. The business mission held an investment forum with the Board of Investments presenting opportunities for Korean companies in the Philippine market, particularly attracting them to participate in the administration's Build, Build, Build program. In January to September of 2017, approved investments from South Korean companies amounted to 1.82 billion pesos. South Korea is the country's fourth largest trading partner in January to November last year. Data from the Philippine Statistics Authority showed that bilateral trade reached $1.09 billion, with imports amounting to $907 million and exports valued at $186 million. The National Shrine, named after the legendary American General Douglas MacArthur, will undergo a 52 million peso major facelift. The rehabilitation of MacArthur Landing Memorial National Park coincides with the 75th year of the Leyte Gulf Landing anniversary next year. Leyte Governor Leopoldo Petilla said the redevelopment is funded by the Department of Tourism under the Yolanda Comprehensive Rehabilitation and Recovery Program for Tourism. Rehabilitation works will cover landscaping, construction of view deck and visitor center, and improvement of lights and sound system. On top of this, the local government of Palo Town will also undertake some beautification projects for the historic site. Aside from the rehabilitation of the historic landmark, the local government will also implement improvements at the nearby government center, such as the installation of solar-powered streetlights. The MacArthur Landing Memorial National Park commemorates the landing of MacArthur at Red Beach on October 20, 1944, as well as the Battle of Leyte Gulf during the liberation of the Philippines from the Japanese. Still to come, the Philippine National Police insists the arrest of NDF consultant Rafael Bailosis and his companion were not politically motivated. A high-end resort in Boracay is razed by fire for 3 hours. These and more when the PNA Newsroom continues.
Indigenous peoples leaders of Mindanao have expressed their solidarity in supporting the Duterte administration's 10-point socio-economic agenda, especially on matters concerning peace and development. The Lumads also welcomed the allocation of 260 million pesos by President Rodrigo Duterte for agriculture and housing of the marginalized sector. Here is our report.
Close to 1,000 Lumad tribal leaders, elders, and representatives from 4 regions in Mindanao on Thursday signed a manifesto to strengthen their push for the self-determination according to their customary laws. They also strongly declared support for President Rodrigo Duterte, who can help them shape and achieve their destiny as united indigenous peoples of Mindanao in their ancestral domain. The manifesto was reached after the Indigenous People Leaders Summit on January 31 and February 1 at Green Heights Convention Center here to resolve issues confronting their communities. The summit was aimed at providing the Lumads a venue to air their concerns to the national government. According to them, the struggle and fight for self-determination is based on their customary laws, cultures, and traditions passed by their ancestors that are deeply rooted in their communities. In the manifesto, they vow that they will not fail President Rodrigo Duterte in his peace and development program spelled out in the administration's 10-point socio-economic agenda. In his speech, Duterte expressed his commitment to help the Lumads improve their lives. He has allocated 100 million for agricultural assistance and 160 million for housing if they want to relocate to an urban area. He assured them of more assistance for health, education, jobs, and opportunities to become members of CAFGU. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Lilian Meliehor.
The Philippine National Police maintained that the arrest of peace consultant Rafael Bailoses and his companion were not politically motivated. The two were arrested following reports of sightings of armed suspicious men. Here's our report.
Philippine National Police Director General Ronald De La Rosa said there is nothing political with the arrest of National Democratic Front of the Philippines or NDFP peace consultant Rafael Bailoses and companion Roque Guillermo. De La Rosa said Bailoses' arrest was a product of an intelligence operation during which he was caught illegally carrying a firearm. Regarding militant claims that the arrest of Bailoses and his companion is a persecution among leftist elements, De La Rosa said that they are just fulfilling their mandate. The CPP, NPA, NDF, and its affiliates have been branded as terrorist groups in response to the atrocities of the New People's Army. Bailoses and Guillermo were arrested at Aurora Boulevard corner Katipunan Avenue, Quezon City, around Wednesday afternoon in a joint operation by police units as well as PNP and AFP intelligence groups. Police said the operation was a result of information received by the CIDG that two armed and suspicious-looking persons were sighted at the boundary of Manila and Quezon City. Among the items seized from the two include 2 caliber .45 pistols, 14 bullets of the same caliber, 2 magazines, assorted cell phones, and documents. Bailoses and Guillermo were apprised of their constitutional rights and are now under the custody of NCR CIDG prior to their inquest proceedings before the Quezon City Prosecutor's Office. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Rom Dulfo.
Investment bank Nomura has predicted a 6.9% growth for the Philippine economy this year. Malacanang attributed the positive growth forecast to reforms brought by the train law. Here's our report.
Malacanang welcomed the prediction of Nomura, a leading security and investment banking company in Japan, that the Philippines' economic growth will hit 6.9% in 2018. Presidential spokesman Harry Roque said the palace attributes the Global Investment Bank's positive forecast on the full implementation of the first package of tax reform for acceleration and inclusion or train by the administration of President Rodrigo Duterte. The package will support the increase in public infrastructure spending and regional development through that will form efficient network of engines of economic growth. The Philippines' gross domestic product hit 6.7% in 2017, securing its place as one of the fastest-growing economies in Asia. The economic growth was within the government's target of 6.5 to 7.5% for 2017. Meanwhile, Roque said the train law will have minimal effect on agricultural products, particularly those coming from Baguio and Benguet, the country's main suppliers of highland vegetables. Duterte signed into law the train aimed at making tax system fairer and simpler, as it will increase take-home pay and bonuses of workers with an annual salary of 250,000 pesos. The new law, on the other hand, will increase excise tax on sugar-sweetened beverages and cigarettes, petroleum, and automobile tax. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Chris Crismundo.
The Philippine Stock Exchange Index closed in the negative Thursday, along with the peso following last-minute selling affected by risk-off attitude ahead of the official U.S. non-farm payrolls January 2018 report on Friday. PSEI was mostly up during the day but closed 25.29 points lower. However, the broader all shares managed to rise by 0.12% or 6.09 points. 5 of the 6 sectoral indices tracked the main gauge, with mining and oil leading the decline. Only the property gained during the day after it rose 0.46%. Meanwhile, the peso finished the day at 51 pesos and 58 centavos, down from its 51.29 close a day ago. A trader said the greenback was driven by expectations for more increases in the Federal Reserve's key rates. The currency pair is seen to trade between 51.30 and 51.50 Friday. A fire razed a high-end resort on the northern part of Boracay on Wednesday night. Fire Inspector Lorna Parceliano of the Bureau of Fire Protection, Boracay, said the fire hit Nami Resort in Sitio Diniwid in Barangay Balabag, which lodged at 10:20 p.m. Volunteer firefighters in the island assisted in putting out the blaze. The fire was declared under control around 12:40 a.m. or nearly 3 hours after it started. Estimated damage is pegged at ₱1 million. The cause of the fire is still being determined by the BFP. Parceliano said the fire spread easily because the majority of the resort is made of native materials. She said it also took time for the fire brigade to reach Nami because of its uphill and secluded location. No one was reported hurt due to the blaze. In a statement, Nami management assured that all of their guests and employees are safe and accounted for. Up next, the Department of Tourism pushes for more tourist establishments to become more environment-friendly. Baguio City blooms once again with the opening of the annual Flower Festival. These and more when the PNA Newsroom returns.
The Department of Tourism is seeking an 80% increase on tourism-related establishments going environment-friendly in the next 10 years. The agency committed to take part in further promoting sustainable tourism in the country in line with the ASEAN tourism goals. DOT Director Danilo Intong said, at present, less than 10% tourism establishments are accredited and recognized for their eco-friendly operations. Regarding older establishments, Intong believed there are actually few things to reconstruct, such as going green through the use of solar power. To encourage establishments and service providers to follow its advocacy, the DOT seeks to enforce the progressive accreditation system for all tourism partners, a grading system similar to the star rating on hotels. Intong said the system is voluntary, but the Tourism Act of 2009 provides for mandatory accreditation for all facilities. Under the National Tourism Development Plan for 2016 to 2022, the agency aims to develop destinations and products in the Philippines that are both inclusive and sustainable.
The local government of Baguio City and the Philippine Bamboo Foundation penned an agreement to convert the city's old open dump site into a bamboo forest that could boost the city's livelihood. Edgardo Manda, president of the Philippine Bamboo Foundation, said the City Council approved the proposal of their group to help the city rehabilitate the Irisan open dump site. The dump site was ordered closed by the National Solid Waste Commission as it is against the solid waste management law. The city used the dump site for almost 4 decades. Manda said his group will start with the establishment of a nursery. Chinese and Japanese bamboo varieties will be planted at the Irisan dump site. Manda said bamboos absorb heavy metals, diminishing accumulated methane gas and reducing the possibility of a trash fire in the area. The bamboos will be used for handicrafts, while the leaves are proven effective in reducing pollution. The roots also spread wide, controlling soil erosion. The Philippine Bamboo Foundation plans to expand its propagation proposal to other barangays once the dump site is fully rehabilitated.
Magnolia is eyeing to zoom into the top of the team standings of the PBA Philippine Cup as the team battles Blackwater in a doubleheader at the Mall of Asia Arena in Pasay this Friday night. The Hotshots, currently tied with the San Miguel Beermen for first place at 5-1, earned a chance to go up solo first after the Beermen fell to Barangay Ginebra on Sunday night. Up next for Magnolia is a Blackwater side that is struggling to grow in the form despite having some promise with veteran Allen Maliksi, young scorer Mac Bello, streak shooter Mike Di Gregorio, and rookie banger Toto Jose. The Elite have lost their last 3 games and are in a 3-way tie with the Meralco Bolts and the NLEX Road Warriors for 9th place. Every game now counts for the 3 squads. From here on, at a loss could mean losing a spot in the quarterfinals. Baguio City blooms again with the opening of the annual Panagbenga or Flower Festival.
The festival kicked off with music and street dancing, with more events featuring Baguio's best in store in the coming days. Here's our report.
Flowers start to bloom in this mountain resort city as the 23rd Baguio Flower Festival or Panagbenga opened on February 1. The festival will run until March 4 with highlight grand street dancing and float parade on February 24 and 25. Carrying the theme Celebration of Culture and Creativity, the city government and the Baguio Flower Festival Foundation aim to showcase the best of the Cordillera. The theme is in line with the city's inclusion in the UNESCO Creative Cities list in 2017. Panagbenga, derived from the Kankanaey word which means blossoming, opened with a parade from Upper Session Road towards the Baguio Athletic Bowl, leading to the showdown of the elementary category of the drum and lyre and street dancing competitions. The top 8 elementary schools in Baguio will compete against each other in their native-inspired and flower costumes, playing and dancing marching music and the Panagbenga hymn set to the Ibaloy Bindian rhythm. The opening also saw the Camp 6 Elementary School in Tuba, Benguet, and for the first time in 23 years since the first staging of the festival in 1995, street dancers from 16 barangays who represented the 3 districts of the 128 villages in the city, some of them senior citizens. The opening of the landscape competition was done simultaneously with the opening day parade. It is one of the traditional events where different motifs of landscapes, showcasing the different blooms and plants grown in Baguio and Benguet, are used to exhibit the creativity and ingenuity of the local garden landscapers. Mayor Mauricio Domogan assured residents and visitors that the activities lined up for the 23rd edition of Panagbenga will be better and bigger because of the expected increase in the participation of barangays, the educational institutions, multinational and local corporations. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Janice Cave.
Let's now check out the weather forecast for Metro Manila and the rest of the country with our Philaine Cervantes.
Good day, Pia and Philaine Cervantes, bringing you today's weather forecast. We're still experiencing cool weather in the evening and early morning thanks to the northeast monsoon affecting northern Luzon. We also have the easterly winds blowing at the eastern section of the country. The northeast monsoon is bringing scattered rains and cloudy skies over Cagayan Valley region and Aurora province, while the Ilocos region and Cordillera will experience partly cloudy to cloudy skies with isolated rains. Eastern Visayas and Caraga region will have cloudy skies and rain showers and thunderstorms due to the easterlies. Meanwhile, Metro Manila and the rest of the country will have localized thunderstorms causing partly cloudy to cloudy skies with isolated rains. Let's now take a look at the extended weather outlook in the country and other parts of Asia.
Military and police officials presented 32 former communist rebels to Sultan Kudarat Governor Pax Mangudadatu as part of the government's reconciliation program. Lieutenant Colonel Harold Kabunok, Chief of the Army's 33rd Infantry Battalion, said 8 of the rebels recently yielded to his unit, while 19 surrendered to the Sultan Kudarat Police Provincial Office and 5 others came to the Army's 1st Mechanized Battalion. The rebels all belong to the New People's Army Guerrilla Front 73, operating in the mountains of Sultan Kudarat. The surrenderers received a check of 20,000 pesos each as livelihood assistance. Additional assistance are in place in exchange for the firearms they surrendered. Qualified surrenderers will be absorbed as paramilitary troops after undergoing military training. Mangudadatu said he would work for the establishment of a school in far-flung villages of Sultan Kudarat where the rebels used to operate so their children could go to school. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Giselle Danganan.
Pia, it's great to have us doing today's newscast together for the very first time in 4 months, especially now that we're airing from our brand new studio, the PNA headquarters.
I know, Will, and it's been several months since we launched the PNA Newsroom, and considering our humble beginnings, we are drawing in more audiences to listen to the latest information that people need to know.
Yes, Pia, and we enjoy doing it. And with that, here's another look at today's headlines.
The Supreme Court is urged to intervene in the dispute over the suspension of overall Deputy Ombudsman Melchor Carandang. The Philippine National Police insists the arrest of NDF consultant Rafael Bailosos and his companion were not politically motivated. A high-end resort in Boracay is razed by fire for 3 hours. Baguio City blooms once again with the opening of the annual Flower Festival.
Thank you for watching another episode of the PNA Newsroom. To check out these and other stories, visit the PNA website or follow the Philippine News Agency on Facebook and Twitter.
For more stories about the government and all that it is doing for the Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites.
And that's your daily dose of the hottest news
and the latest information that you need to know from the PNA Newsroom.
I'm William Theo.
And I'm Pia Rosas Morato. Good day.